respectful questions of our guests. Please line up in an orderly fashion for the Q&A microphone. Do not run to get in line. Do not make personal requests. Due to time limitations, not everyone in line will be able to ask your question. Please ask only one question. Keep in mind your question will be screened before you're able to ask it. Restrooms are located inside hall H to the right of the seating area.
The restaurant, in person.
What time is it? Time?
No, I want to find it.
In the secure
What's up? I think they do work for him.
to re-enter.
They do work for him.
Please take your trash and containers outside.
Time?
If you are given a ticket for a free item, please follow the directions on the ticket. For generic tickets, go to the programming premium room located in the Grand AV Ballroom on the lobby level of the Manchester Grand Hyatt on Harbour Drive to receive your free item. Check your print guide for the exact location. Open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you are leaving Hall H after this event, please leave via the doors to the left of the seating area. You do not have to scan out with your baggage.
Love it. $7:30? He wants to push it till 10, huh? Oh, what if he's waiting to download his movie? Show it to us. Oh, it's 6:59. It's not 7. Right about now. I was wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Director of Programming for Comic-Con International, Mr. A. Ibrahim.
All right, thank you so much. Wow, my throat's a little. Well, this is great. I am so excited for you guys that are still here. You're ready for Kevin Smith, who we all know is going to be a great time. What an amazing tradition. One of the things I remember, not to stray on too long, but one of the things that was really cool is, Kevin was remembering how I think that the last time that we were here, I was able to give him his ink pod. And that, yeah. Oh, okay. So how many of you were here when we did that moment? Yeah! How crazy is it? That was 3 years ago.
Wow.
And this is the first time we're all back together after that. I'm just so excited that we're here together, that we were able to share. And, I missed those feelings. One of the things that makes it very difficult sometimes to do this job is, obviously you can't make everyone happy, but, we want to try to make everyone happy. So during the years when we couldn't do it live, we didn't get that feedback if anyone was enjoying it home or any of that stuff. So hearing all of you so excited throughout the day and knowing how excited you're going to be to see Kevin Smith, it really means a lot to us because that's what makes us want to do it. We want to know that you guys are happy. So thank you for coming. And I know you didn't want to sit here to listen to me tell stories.
Yeah, we do.
They're much more, Kevin's a much better storyteller. So with that, I want to bring one and only Kevin Smith up.
All right, kids, real talk. How many people were here for the Marvel panel? I used my position of authority to get backstage a little bit early, and Maurice was nice enough to let us sit in the back. I sat with Harley, my daughter's with me. Austin was with us, Jen, my wife, and Chelsea was there too. So we're sitting in the back watching the panel like everybody else, but from a screen out back. And then they're showing the trailers and stuff. They showed She-Hulk, and it was fucking legit funny. It reminded me of the John Byrne run of the book. She talked to the fucking camera, broke the fourth wall. That was amazing. Then they showed us fucking Secret Invasion, which fucking looked intense. Like, I had no idea. I thought it was gonna be the Skrull comedy hour, but it's not that at all. It's fucking really intense. Then they fucking ruined Comic-Con for me by showing me the most beautiful fucking Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. We'll get back to that in a minute, and then after that, fucking Wakanda Forever, which was absolute fucking magic, man. So we were sitting there watching the Guardians trailer, and you know, before everybody comes up, they're like processing in front of us backstage and shit. So we're like, oh shit, there's that person, there's that person and shit. And I get really nerdy about directors, where I was just like, oh, there's James Gunn, oh, there's Ryan Coogler and shit like that. So James comes up, and this is before he came up, they're all standing back there as a group watching the trailer. And so I'm focused on the trailer, they're also focused on the trailer. Without spoiling it, a lot of people have seen the trailer. There's a fucking shot of Little Rocket in the trailer that fucking destroyed me. And instantly I welled up with fucking tears, and I know that doesn't mean anything anymore because I cry at everything. As a middle-aged stoner, everything touches me. But I swear to God, in that moment, I felt inestimable fucking joy and absolute fucking respect for James Gunn. I was like, it was such a perfect, the whole fucking trailer is an emotional fucking experience, and I was crying backstage. And then I feel this fucking hand come down on my leg so fucking hard, and I looked over and my kid is crying harder than me. And they were both just bawling together, and then there was like a secondary rocket shot, and it was like, oh no! And I'll never forget it, man. I'll go to my grave one day, and one of the last things I imagine I'll see is that real shared moment. That's a pure Comic-Con moment. I'm here to, like, you know, essentially sell my wares. We've been doing the movies pop-up. I'm going to show you Clerks 3 stuff. But in that moment, I was not a creator. I was pure fucking fan. And there I was with another pure fucking fan, just soaking it up, man. I appreciate that. That's why, like, I love the fucking Marvel movies so much. They make me feel like a kid. They make me feel the same way I felt when I would go to the movies in the 70s and the 80s, and I looked up to movies, and that was like everything. And just because I get to work in them, that doesn't change. Like, people are always like, you gotta make one of those Marvel movies? I was like, they'll never let me, number one. But number two, even if they gave me carte blanche, I would be like, honestly, no, put me in one of those motherfuckers. Like, that's good for my brand. But making one of them is just not in my DNA. That's my comfort zone. That's where I go to get fed. If you're like, where does the chef go fucking before he prepares a meal? That's the shit that feeds my heart and soul. And I know some people are like, what? It's not cinema. It's absolute fucking cinema to me because it moves me so incredibly much. And that, I'm not pointing fingers and saying, like somebody said that. I've heard that from many, many people over the years. Every time I talk about how much I love the Marvel movies. Every time we do an episode of Fat Man Beyond and shit, and I talk about, oh my God, I fucking love what they did this time. There's like fucking 1,000 people who are like, get off their fucking payroll, you cuck, you know. And I'm like, if I could get paid to like Marvel, I'd quit making those lousy ass movies, man. Like, They don't pay you for that kind of shit. You just do it because you absolutely fucking love it. And I love it. I sat back there and I was a fucking kid again. I'm a 51-year-old man and I'm out here to present the movie that I made and shit like that. But back there, I was gone. I was just a kid looking up at the screen going like, we gotta see that. It took me right back. I'm sitting next to my kid. And my kid's 23 now. She's grown up and stuff like that. But like, I used to go to the movies with my father when I was a kid. He used to pull me out of school. I've talked about this many times. He'd pull me out of school to go see movies, matinees of movies and stuff. And the idea was, I liked movies. So he was like, look, the fat one likes movies. Maybe that's the thing we could do together. I don't mind movies. He seems way into it, so I'm gonna take him to the movies. And my mom was like, your dad's gonna take you to the movies, see a matinee today. And it was a school day. And I was like, well, how are we gonna do that? I'm going to school. And she was like, he's gonna come pick you up at 12 o'clock and he's going to bring you to the movies. And I was like, what do I tell Sister Teresa? And shit, I went to a Catholic school, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And my mom was like, just tell him your aunt died. Because my mom was a really good Catholic. And so I went into school and at noon my father showed up and they brought me down to the office and like, oh my God, Kevin, you didn't tell us. Your father came to pick you up for a funeral. I said, yeah, my aunt died, man. So he's like, we'll put her in our prayers. And I was like, don't bother. And I joined my dad. My dad took me to the movies, man. First movie like date that we had was Raiders of the Lost Ark. And there's something very magical happened in that screening, man. Number one, I saw like one of the greatest movies of all time in real time. A lot of people saw it on video later on, some people catching up with it now and shit. I remember exactly where the fuck I was. It was opening day, and I was at a matinee with my father, and he kept talking about the whole ride to the movie theater. He was just like, this movie, I think it's like the movies I grew up watching. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, we used to go see cliffhangers when I was a kid. You would see a serial and it would end. You had to come back the next week to see it. And he said, the coming attraction makes it look like that. I was like, okay. And we went, and I remember being way more into seeing Superman 2, which was coming soon. And they put out like a lobby program book. And I asked my father, I was like, can I get that? They used to sell books in the lobby with popcorn to show you what the movie was gonna be when it came. So he got me that, but he was like, I think you should pay attention to this movie, you're gonna like it. And I didn't know fucking shit about Indiana Jones. I hadn't met him yet and shit. So there we go into this movie theater, and my father was always my father, you know, an authority figure and shit. I loved him to death, don't get me wrong, but like, we didn't have like a super close relationship where he poured his heart out to me. That's the father I was to my kid, because I'm a stoner, so I'm like, everything's fucking beautiful, man, you know. So that's the world she grew up in. My father kind of played it more close to the vest, and he was not a cold man by any stretch of the imagination, but he was dad, the authority figure and shit. Like, he was the one that had the job and fucking paid the bills, and when he was sleeping, you had to be quiet and shit. He was just dad. That's what I always thought of him as. Sitting next to him in a movie theater watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, he stopped being dad, and that's where I saw Don, my father, the boy, who used to go to the movies, because he was filled with fucking glee as we watched this movie. And I swear to God, man, same thing happened to me when I was a kid. That's why it was such a bizarre, wonderful moment backstage. I felt a very heavy hand hit my fucking leg. And I looked over and it was my father, who was gripped with fucking excitement. And he said, I knew it. This is exactly like the movies I used to go see when I was a kid. Isn't this fucking great? And a man who at that point was maybe 46 looked like he was fucking 6 years old. And I got to see my father, my real father, for the first time. Not the veneer of like, that's dad, the human being underneath. I learned so much about my father sitting next to him in a movie theater over and over again. What made him laugh? What made him fucking cry, which will blow a kid's mind, man. I never saw my dad cry until we were in a movie theater. There he is crying during Raging fucking Bull, and I was like, you're allowed to do that? Like, I learned so much sitting next to him in the movies, and it led eventually to a life where I became a filmmaker. And so I know what it's like to pull the levers and work the magic, the smoke and mirrors and shit. But I swear to Christ, as I sat backstage, all of that fell away. And I was fucking 10 years old, 11 years old, sitting next to my father again. That's how powerful a fucking movie can be, man. They can bring the dead back for just a few fucking seconds. I swear to God, I really, my mom raised me very polite and shit, so I don't like to insinuate myself into situations unless I'm invited. But when James Gunn came off stage, I wanted to tackle him and fucking kiss him like a cartoon character and shit. Because I was like, Jesus Christ, you have no right to stick the landing, not just stick the landing, but give us such a beautiful conclusion for a third fucking movie? Who does that shit? Well, kids, what a perfect segue. Now, I've been hearing about Hall H all day and all week and shit, and everybody does big things here. This morning, fucking Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showed up cosplaying and apparently rose into the fucking sky, worked fucking magic, and everybody's chest lit up and shit like that. That's Warner Brothers money right there. We work for Lionsgate, ladies and gentlemen. So early on, they were just like, how big do you want to go at Comic-Con? I was like, not really. I was like, this ain't a brand new movie. It's like Clerks with a 3 in it. So we could probably keep it toned and tasteful and shit like that. The good folks at Lionsgate have been so wonderful to us. They put together fantastic posters. I don't know if you saw them, but the fucking marketing campaign is wonderful. The trailer that they cut is fucking phenomenal, man. Absolutely. I was so in love with what they did. Trailer cutting is an art form that I have no skill at. Give it up for the Lionsgate people, man. They have not let us down. So when it came to this, I was like, throttle back, kids. Like, fucking, you don't have to do shit, man. Like, they were like, we're gonna do a booth at Lionsgate. We're gonna at Comic-Con on the floor. The Lionsgate booth is gonna be you sharing it with Hunger Games and shit. And I was just like, oh shit, I've heard of that. That will make this booth very popular and shit. And then at a certain point, they're like, Hunger Games ain't coming. It's just fucking Clerks, man. And I was like, fuck Katniss, we win. So they were like, we want to put together like a quick stop counter on the floor. I was like, oh, it sounds like a lot of hassle. Please don't. And they did, and it's fucking darling. And I went to the floor and took pictures with people and shit. It's like a Hobbit version of Quick Stop, just very small. I was down on my knees taking pictures and shit. It was lovely. They've made dreams come true. They made this dream come true for me. Clerks 3 is a movie I've been trying to make for 10 fucking years, man. It took a minute and shit. And it was only by the good graces of Lionsgate that it happened, and the good graces of you. I'm gonna tell you a story and how you manifested this movie. So, when people don't like Clerks 3, I'm gonna tell them to blame your fucking asses. Here's the story, man. We made this movie, last time I was on this stage, as Eddie mentioned, man, was 2019. I got an Ink Pot Award, which I still have on my shelf, it's amazing. But we were here with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, man. We announced the tour, we put tickets on sale and shit. So, we took that movie out in the world, we toured it, and when it was done, it went to home video. Lionsgate had home video, not just home video of streaming and shit. That's what I think of when I think of home video now. Lionsgate still makes like DVDs and Blu-rays and shit. So they sold DVDs and Blu-rays of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and apparently sold enough to reach out to us and say, we sold fucking so many DVDs and Blu-rays that if you ever want to make more of this Jay and Silent Bob bullshit, as long as it's under this price point, fucking have a go at it and shit. The only reason we got to do that is because you bought hardware, kids. Thank you for that, man. Thank you for buying physical media. So because of that, we're gonna give you a reward, man. I am not clever like the good folks at Warner Brothers. I'm not gonna raise anybody up into the air. I did not bring anything nearly as moving as the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, nor as fucking sweeping and epic as Wakanda Forever. But I brought something that I cut out of my fucking broken, stented heart and put together with a bunch of friends and shit who I've been doing the same version of the story with for nearly 30 years. Held it together with a lot of spit, glue, and absolute affection. And I think we got something for you. We're going to show you the entire first 5 minutes of Clerks 3. Now, spoilers in advance. You know, because I watched the fucking Marvel trailers backstage and I was on the edge of my seat and I was desperately listening for the dialogue. Like sometimes it's so boomy you can't hear the dialogue and people are talking backstage and you can't shush them because they're all fucking Marvel people. Somebody was talking, I wanted to be like, shut the fuck up. It was Kevin Feige. The only Kevin that fucking matters at Comic-Con, the Kevin that must be saved at all costs and shit. So here you won't struggle to listen to dialogue. It's believe it or not, in a Kevin Smith movie, it's a fairly dialogue-free opening 5 minutes. That's because I had good friends of mine do the speaking for me. I reached out to some local Jersey musicians by the name of My Chemical Romance. And so essentially what you're gonna see is the opening of our movie, but what also functions as a fairly decent music video for a very popular My Chem song. We're gonna watch this and then they'll bring out all the magical people that made this happen, man. So for here we go, kids. First look anywhere for anybody and shit. Here comes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson hovering into the air. Get ready for lightning bolts to go across your chests, ladies and gentlemen. I give you the first 5 minutes of Clerks 3. Him and I are enshrined together forever in the cement at Groman's Chinese Theater, right next to one another, Silent Bob, and of course Jay himself. Give it up for Jason. Yeah! She said, sexy bitch. Isn't he dressed nicely? I asked him before, I was like, did you bring a dresser? Did you hire a stylist and shit? And he was like, no, I went to a store and I bought these things. He was very proud of his outfit. Look, the picture's called Clerks. This is Clerks 3. Everything I've done is predicated on that first movie. It's not Clerk, it's Clerks plural. There's 2 of them, so it's very hard to separate these two. In real life, in my head, and in my heart, man. The co-architects of the View Askew universe, people I've been playing with since I was relatively a kid, at least relative till now, man. We started working on Clerks when I was 22. I'm 51 years old now, so 29 years I've been playing with these adult children who give me so much fucking happiness. Welcome both Dante and Randall, Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson! Okay, before we're gonna pretty much, you know, because things got started a little bit late and stuff, and there's a Hollywood Babylon show I gotta do later on. We're gonna keep it kind of tight. We will jump to Q&A, but before we do that, I want to give everyone a chance to talk and ask them across the boards, how was it watching the opening 5 minutes with the audience? Start with you.
It was incredible. They want to hear from everyone else. So.
I know, but this was your chance to shine.
It was fucking awesome!
There you go. Marilyn, what was it like watching the, I know neither of you 2 kids are represented in the first few minutes, and neither is Trevor, he shows up and stuff, but what was it like watching the first few minutes?
Even though that, for me, well, and I told you when I read, I think it was the first draft, that I was excited with the music that was going to be starting, because I love My Chemical Romance and that particular song. So yeah, it's just, it gets you in the mood to just want to see more.
Good. I hope you're right. Trev?
Yeah, I don't know. I just hope you guys like it. That's all.
Thank you for that very touching take on it, Trevor. Mr. Muse?
I found myself really fixated on the car that Brian pulled up in. Because you know, the last 2 movies he was driving like a station wagon, Caprice Classic or something like, and all of a sudden now you got like a really sweet like minivan or something. But I don't know, that's what I was, but I'm excited. I really am. It'll be nice to sit with a bunch of people and watch the movie from beginning to end, because that was just a taste of it. And it seemed to be enjoyable for you guys, I think, right? So it would be nice to listen, sit in the movie theater and listen to the movie from beginning to end with people. So I'm excited.
Hefe Anderson, what do you think?
You know, I was back there and I was watching it and I got a little tear in my eye. And I felt this heavy hand on my ball. And it was beautiful.
A moment we'll never forget.
This is why you don't fucking share things, man. BOH, Brian O'Holler, what'd you think?
Well, first of all, hello, Hall H.
Is this the first Hall H for you?
Yes!
It's
This is what it's like?
yeah, many time in the audience watcher of you and your Hall H's, first time on the stage. It's like, you know, when you call into a radio station, long time listener, first time caller. That's how it feels right now. I'm awed because I've watched so many Hall H panels of other things, just like the Marvel stuff, and I get choked up and engrossed like a fan. And so I watched it out here. I decided to come along and just sit and just watch it as an audience member, and I got choked up, I'm not gonna lie. It's 30 years, people, that I've been not even supposed to be here today. But I can honestly say today, I'm so grateful to be here today.
What's been everyone's experience at Comic-Con so far? Something we could all universally relate to because everyone's here attending Comic-Con. Is this your first Comic-Con?
Yeah, this is my first Comic-Con.
And what's it been like for you?
This is crazy. This is insane. Thank you guys all. Thank you.
I was counting on you for so much content. What about you, Marilyn? How's it been? You've been to con before?
I've been coming pretty much every year since 2010, and I still don't know what to do with myself other than when I'm here to do. It's like I wander around aimlessly, and I wish I didn't, because I really want to experience Comic-Con the way you guys do, but I just never know what to do with myself, you know. But it's fun to be here anyway.
You need to find a buddy. You should latch on to someone. Be like, hey man, does anyone know what to do? And then you can hang out, right? And they can show you around and all that. Look, you got a bunch of people waving their hands. Next year.
Just so you know, don't take the latching on to somebody advice from Jay. I saw what he was latching on backstage. My balls.
Dude, what does it say right here? Sorry. Please be aware that many members of your audience may be under 18 years of age, man. Come on, guys. Jeez.
Like basketball.
You can't bring them anywhere.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
Wow, it actually does say that. That's
First
hilarious.
time here, last time here, motherfucker.
Are we taking the same car out of here? Because you're gone too now.
Trev, first Comic-Con for you?
Yeah, I've never been here before. I think it's pretty cool because I grew up watching like Star Trek, The Next Generation, and reading X-Men, and none of that stuff was okay when I was a kid. And like, I did not fit in at all, so I find it kind of heartwarming to see that all us nerds have found one another at last, and in sufficient numbers.
Mr. Muse, you've been coming to Comic-Con with me. We've been coming together since 1995. First time we came was we showed Mallrats at the Horton Plaza, like a sneak preview. What's it like for you to be here after all this time? You're a fucking fixture now.
It's, you know, every year I get so excited again, as much as often as I've come and as many times I've come, I still get excited each time, because it's like as soon as you get in, you finally get through the traffic and you get in your room, it's like you look out and the cars playing, and it's cool for me and for us, for you too, I'm sorry, is going out and seeing how it's grown. It's like, I remember it used to be like lots of vendors, and Warner Brothers, maybe DC, I don't know, whatever, would have a big booth in the middle of the convention hall. But now it's like Funko, you know, Gentle Giant, Sideshow. Like, there is so much to see, and each time I walk the floor and I'm like, I'll like start talking. I was streaming the other day on my Twitch, and I was trying to walk the hall, but I couldn't really do it because I'd be like, ooh, and I like move over here, and I'd be holding the camera here, and I was like, oh, sorry guys, look what I just saw, and then I'd see something else. So again, for me, is every time I come, I get excited, and it's just amazing, man. It really is. I was bummed the last 2 years that they had to close it down. I was shocked. I was like, I thought they would make it through everything. But
He wasn't aware it was closed for the last 3 years, so he was only sad about the last 2, and then he got the memo. He's like, what the fuck?
It hasn't been 3, has it?
It has been 3, man. This is 2022. Last time we all did this was
19, 20, 21, and we're here.
Well, slow down, I get it.
22,
No,
so that's
22.
this is 3 years since the last time we were here. We can't do basic math in front of these fucking people. The time for that was in grade school. Fuck. Jeff, without answering any arithmetic questions, how have you enjoyed Comic-Con?
I haven't done the cons. This was, I actually started doing cons right before the pandemic hit. I did 2 right before the pandemic. I think I brought it on. And so coming here, this is my first time, obviously, to Comic-Con. The thing for me is I've never really done these things, so it's great to meet you guys. And it's amazing how much love you have for this movie and for us sitting here, and that's been the coolest thing for me, to finally come out of my cabin in the woods and experience
Literally.
literally.
He's got bears and shit by his house. It's cool.
And his address is. No, I'm just kidding.
Brian.
I was here with you guys for 2019, promoting Reboot with you guys. That was a great experience. You were hosting out on the IMDb boat, which was like, man, we can redo Gilligan's Island with just this boat alone. Let's do it. View us, you Gilligan's Island. And seeing missing this for the past couple of years, it was sad. 3, I believe.
No, the past 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
We've been over this.
I was actually here 3 years ago. Wandering around.
Where is everybody?
Playing different characters and shit.
But you're like, wow, there's no line for Hall H.
I'm so fucking lucky to shoot.
But it's great. It's good to be back. And this time, not only am I here promoting for Clerks 3, that I'm on the stage with you and here in front of the great Hall H people. I saw you guys waiting in line outside and stuff. And thank God the weather has been kind of cooperating. It's not been swelteringly, deadly heat, like hot in previous years. And I'm just so amped to be here. And I want to talk more about Clerks 3. And like Jeff, we are just so touched by the love that y'all are giving us. Sorry.
What is this, the crying game?
See, I'm not the only bitch who cries in Hall H.
I understand where him and his dad come from on this, and the same it is. It's just, you guys have love for a fucking movie that's been around 30 fucking years. And y'all still come out for it, and I think when you see it, and y'all will see it, right?
What if they're like,
Yeah, I am correcting them. Clerks 3 movie. Anyway, the number 3, by the way. When you see it and you see what the love that was put into this film and back to the funniness that we always love, I can't wait to see you guys next year to hear what the response is. So, but I'll know because you'll go to the theaters to watch it. What the response will be is we did well because we do well this time. Then A Mallrats 2 comes next, and maybe fingers crossed, and the good folks at Lionsgate were really cool, and like Kevin said, like, you make more of these Jay and Silent Bob bullshit, with this amount of budget, we'll totally do more. So we're ready to do a lot of that bullshit for more.
The movie, I'm happy to report, turned out great. The dream going into it is like, man, I hope this fucking works. But I had very able players to bring it to life. A script is always just a blueprint. It's what the performers bring to the table. And all of these cats, none of them executed the movie, thank God it's alive. They all elevated the fucking picture, every one of them. Honestly, this is the most beautiful movie I've ever made. It's funny still, but it is a weirdly profound journey for this dopey little story of two dudes who've been in the same place for like nearly 30 years and stuff. I saw some people online when the trailer dropped, somebody was just like, I think it's fucking sad that they're still at that store. And I had to write like, they own that fucking store now. And they're like, all right, that's okay. I can't wait to show you what they've all done. Now, I'm here all the time and I chit-chat constantly and I'm always answering questions. So we're gonna open up the mic and I encourage you to take the opportunity to hit all these unicorns with questions, man. I'm always around, you can always catch me. So let's hit a mic, turn on a light. Oh, why, hello.
That was cool.
Good seeing you. The first question of the night, give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen, is Brave.
Hi, Kevin. It's Mike.
Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too. You know, just like you said, how you and your father watched the movie together and what we saw today, it was nice to have my son with me so he could be a part of what we saw. And like when the Black Panther Forever came, he grabbed my hand and he said, Dad, I have to go to the bathroom. and so we had to go run over to the bathroom because, you know, as a father, I gotta be there for him.
You do. For him and his dick, you have to be there.
You have to be there. So that's my moment that I will always remember with Black Panther. Being with my son.
As you're dragging him to the bathroom, you piece of shit, I want to watch this.
Exactly. But you gotta be a dad.
That's a beautiful dad story. Give it up for that, man. That's phenomenal.
So, Kevin, behind me is your little buddy.
Aww.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Oh, you're like the miniature version.
He's even wearing Batman for you.
I saw that. I like Batman too. Are you going to see this movie when it comes out? If you are, somebody's going to have to explain a lot of shit to you. A lot of concepts in the movie might be a little, but you get it though.
Okay, so go.
The short answer is...
Wait. At WonderCon, you asked him a question about why you like superheroes. So
Yes.
Here's his answer.
Oh my God, you took this many months to come up with a response?
Actually, like 5 minutes.
Fair enough, fair enough.
These people are way funnier than any of us.
Kid, do you want to be in Clerks 4?
Variants of you.
Well, it depends how this answer goes. Let's hear. The question that I asked at WonderCon, posed to the young gentleman, was, what was it?
Why do you like superheroes?
Why do you like superheroes? I told him a very long-winded story about why I like superheroes, and then I asked, why do you like them? And he was like, I don't know. And I said, well, you think about it and fucking get back to me. He fucking took me seriously, man. Here we are. Okay, give us your answer. We're all listening. The floor is yours.
The short answer is, I like how they kick butt. The more advanced answer is, I like to see them kick butt because I've seen a lot of movies, Marvel and DC, except for the Green Lantern because my dad says it blows.
Okay, I'm signing you up for Clerks 4 through 9.
You'll be playing Randall.
But I like to see their superpowers and fighting skills and their cool weapons and gadgets. Now I have a question for you. Why do you use the F-bomb so much?
Fuck, kid, I don't know. It's a weird question. My mother asks it all the time, too. So my mother's like, I raised you, and I never cursed around. My mother didn't. She wouldn't even say hell. She would say, oh, H-E double hockey sticks. I had to spell shit out one night. So my mom is always baffled, like, where did this come from? What part of your life were you able to say these things? Why do you say fuck so much? And I honestly, like, I've thought about it for the better part of 29 years. I think it's Jason Mewes' fault. He just made it so attractive. Like, Jason Mewes is one of my absolute heroes. You can tell I love him so much, I put him in all the movies and shit like that. He's my rocket sauce. Like, he's my fucking, he's the, you know, the fucking shit that they stuck in Captain America, the secret soldier serum and shit. He's the battery. If I'm the ever ready bunny and shit, if that still exists, the Energizer bunny, you know what that shit is? Old commercial, never mind. He would be the batteries that fucking keep me going and stuff like that, because he's been such a freeing personality to know my whole life. One of the freest people I've ever known, one of the most entertaining, one of the purest fucking hearts. A $1 million heart, nickel fucking head, but $1 million heart. So he's been the secret sauce and everything, and his casual nature with, let's say, coarse language and overuse of the term fuck as a modifier sank in over time, because I was like, I think I'd rather live my life like him. And so that's where it comes from. So if you're mad, there's that bad boy right there.
Perspective. Nobody ever heard me curse until I said clerks.
Is that right?
Jesus, God.
I'm sorry. I feel like I ruined a virgin soul, something pure. Is that we good?
Yeah.
Or is there more to the letter?
No, there's more. I just want to say, Kevin, when Shatner and you did that thing with Shatner and the acting thing, that was priceless.
It was beautiful. You set that up, didn't you? You were there. You asked one of the questions.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. There was nothing more to that letter?
No, that was it.
That was it? Give it up for him. That was a beautiful piece of writing. Excellent job. What's your name, my friend?
I'm Rolando.
Give it up for Rolando.
Yeah, I'm a Mexican from Vancouver, actually. That's so, you, Kevin Smith, you changed my life. You know, I've been in the Vancouver animation industry since 2016, where I also love like action and everything that you can see on the screen. So before I listened to your Comic-Con panel back on 2018, I was not super happy about just being an animator working all day in front of a computer. I wanted more. So after your panel on 2019 and everything you said about your unfortunate heart attack, I came out of this same room so inspired that I signed up for every single indie filmmaking Facebook group in Vancouver. And with that, I was every single weekend of my life volunteering on every single indie movie set I could be on, as gaffer, great VG actor, the BTS photographer, art department, etc., you name it. So weekdays I was an animator and weekends I was on movie sets. Then the pandemic started, but that didn't stop me, so I initiated a podcast about film for Spanish people. I wrote some short films, and I also made all the courses and certifications you needed to join the union DGC. I haven't joined yet because I'm missing actual union hours that are pretty hard to get. But I won't give up until I get into that union because I love this industry. And all this has been thanks to the inspiration you, Kevin Smith, gave me on 2018. So I now just wanted to thank you and let you know that you changed my life in a fantastic way.
First off, you can work for me any day, man. Bring that attitude to work, that's lovely. Second off, that moves me to near tears, my friend. The kid who started this journey, who made Clerks, I would love to go back in time and tell him just that sampling of that story. Like the trickle-down impact that the thing that we all made together when we were kids would have on people. Thank you for giving me credit that I don't deserve, because I listened to that story very closely, and you sound like the hero of that motherfucker. You did all the work, man.
Well, your VA gave you the boost, you know?
A lot of people listen, not everybody hears, man, and you did, and you went and made it happen. It sounds, I don't want this to sound condescending, but I'm proud of you. That's tremendous. Let me get your information. Vancouver, you say?
Yeah, I live in Vancouver.
Fucking hey, I work up there all the time and shit.
Yeah, I know.
you shifty motherfucker.
I'm a big fan.
Tell you what, man. See this guy here with the camera dressed like a punk? He's waving his hand?
Yeah.
That's Dr. Josh Roush. You give him your information, man. We're gonna work together. Is that cool?
Should I go to him?
Go to him now. Oh, that was fucking beautiful, man. Fuck, like that's honestly, that's my life. People say wonderful things like that to me, and it's like, it just makes like, people think like, oh, you're in the movie business, you must make a lot of money. Not really, not in Kevin Smith movies and shit. But you get paid in that. That's the richest currency you could fucking feel, man. Somebody saying something like that to you, like you changed their fucking life and shit. But I didn't, you did. Well done. You, what's your name?
My name is Michael. Hi, Brooklyn. Hello. Hi,
Michael, everyone give it up for Michael. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, it's so surreal. It's so great to be back. I was here 2019 all day through Marvel. My Comic-Con tradition is I come into Hall H at some point in the day, then everybody else I'm with leaves me and I hang back here to see you. They don't fucking get it. Okay.
People are like, there's a party, we can go see shit. You're like, no, I'm just gonna hang here and support this fucking old fuck.
They're like, we're gonna go get Mexican food. We'll see you later. Like anyway.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for leaving friends behind. To fucking...
They left me.
That's true. Good point. Fuck them. No, but tell them for me, thank you for indulging your passion and stuff, not pulling you away. Because if they were true friends, they'd be like, fuck Kevin Smith, come with us. But they let you do your thing. That's very sweet.
Yeah, for sure. So two quick things before actual question. So one, similar to the previous fellow, I just want to thank you and let you know just how much of an influence and inspiration you are to me as well. I mean, as a person, as an artist, and then just your general outlook and everything, and just it's just so great. And I just also, yeah. Oh, sorry, what?
I said thank you, man.
I think he's talking to me.
No, man, pillow. Yeah, pillow pets for life. Trevor, you know how it goes. But I also it's also kind of, as happy as I am, it's also kind of bittersweet for me to be here and talking to you and seeing you guys with Clerks 3 coming out. One of my really good friends and also podcast co-host that we started in the midst of all the lockdown times and everything. He passed away last November, 2021. Yeah, it was an accident. Super young, only like a year older than me. We were both really big fans of yours too. He was one of the few friends I actually had that I could talk about your stuff with. So that was really great.
You made it was sad, and somehow you made it sadder, man. We were like, and he loved you, but he's gone. Like,
yeah, he did Loki's monologue and everything in his theater class in high school. I always wanted to see footage of that, but yeah, what
was his name? Let's bring him to life for a little while.
His name was Andrew Zeman, but he was also, in addition to being a podcaster, he was also a rapper. His name was Drew Hush, DRU space Hush, as in Tommy Elliott Hush, because he was a big comic guy too. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good Drew, man. That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredibly meaningful. As I said before, that's my currency. That's the fuel that I run on, shit like that. Like for a guy who made a series of goofy ass movies with Jay and Silent Bob, people tell you such incredibly powerful things about what these movies have meant to them. And I always loved my movies, don't get me wrong. I was never dismissive of them. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. But they're very self-serving. They're incredibly masturbatory. They're all for me. It's just me jerking off all over myself.
Can't confirm.
But when people talk to you about or tell me what the movies have meant to them, it's a reminder that I'm not on this journey alone. A lot of you have been on it with me for many, many years at this point, and the movies mean something to you in the way they mean something to me, but in this completely different way, in this completely different narrative and how they fit in into your lives and stuff like that. And then you all grow up and have children, and then introduce me to the kids and talk about how you share the movies with your kids, and it takes me right back to my father, where I was like, he took me to the movies because I was the fat one, so I get it. And if they're standing there with a kid, the kid's like, wait, am I the fat one? So thank you, that means the fucking world.
Thank you, Ken. Can I name drop the podcast real quick?
Yeah, do it.
So it's called, if anyone's curious, it's like on Apple, Spotify. It's called Two Old Souls, T-O-O, like as in we're too old for this shit. So yeah. And we did a whole episode covering all the View Askew stuff up through Reboot. So
how many episodes did you do before you lost it?
I think we got like somewhere in the 25 to 30 range. I'm still kind of doing the posthumous releases and stuff, but yeah.
How precious to still have that voice captured. That's the magic of podcasts. I mean, I know they've become very popular, obviously, but I've been doing this shit since 2007, and just capturing voices of people that you love, people that you admire and stuff like that. We all take pictures because we got cell phones with cameras and shit, but nobody really thinks to capture a motherfucker's voice, and that's the first thing you lose later in life and stuff. So how awesome that you have his voice captured forever. Well done.
Absolutely. And then, okay, I do have a question for the rest of your crew. Is that cool?
Please.
Okay.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Okay. So with the like, not even semi, but like very autobiographical nature of your work, Kev, with all your movies, I have a question for all of you guys. Like, what's it like to be sort of acting out parts of Kevin's story all through the years, whether you're playing someone who's like a composite of people he's known, or if you're kind of playing a version of him, at different points in his life. So yeah, just curious. And Kevin, what's that like for you to watch that sort of play out as you process and make sense of the experiences that you've had through your art?
I'll jump and go first and then give it over to them. I had the closest story that I think could maybe answer the question is, my mom watched, she watched all of it, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, but the opening of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, when my mom was watching it, she started crying. And for a minute she was like, oh, first Tusk, now this. Like, he's fucking ruined. But I was like, what's the matter? Are you okay? And she was just like, I did that. I pulled up to that store and I would drop you off. I don't know how many times I did it. And it's just so weird. I know you've been making movies for a while, and I know you've done the same shot in movies before, but just seeing that vehicle pull up in front of the store, she's like, that's my life too. Which is kind of like a theme that runs through Clerks 3. Randall is making the story of his life. Randall forgets that his life is shared by a lot of other people and stuff. So for me, my mom crystallized it. I get so lost in it that it goes from memory to artifice, where I take something real and turn it into something for the movie and stuff, and then it belongs to the movie and stops being mine. For example, the heart attack is no longer mine. It's Randall's heart attack from now on in, and that way I kind of exercise it. It's kind of nice. But, Mom seeing that moment and recognizing it and getting emotional hit me very hard as well, where I'm like, oh shit, that's right. The secret origin of all this stuff is that it happened. It's just the names are different. Randall says it, I think, in the trailer, where he's like, what's the exact line? Where he's like, he's still looking at me. Let me fucking hang it. But yeah, so I don't know, that's my thoughts. I'll turn it over to the two boys who played various sides of me. Brian has played Dante for years, and that was always kind of my character, so to speak. Jeff plays Randall, of course. It was never me until this version of the movie when he has my heart attack. So what do you think, boys?
The good thing about Kevin's scripts are incredibly easy and relatable to my upbringing as well. He comes from an Irish Catholic upbringing as well, with a strict mother. Not a strict mother, but a mother who cares about their son, that they want to keep you on the straight and narrow.
No, you were right. She was strict.
Well, and so, and a dad who I hung out with a lot as a kid as well. So in seeing that kind of relationship, and that's my upbringing, and just saying the words, there was a kind of ease to doing the dialogue. I came from a theater background, so you have to learn an entire play and perform it in front of a live audience every night. So knowing an hour and a half of dialogue in your head at any given time was a benefit because of the dialogue that Kevin writes is so verbose and so specific that it was great to do. And so doing this all these years, it was a lot of me, but definitely his words in my mouth, and that's
just the word.
That sounded dirtier. I know, it sounded dirtier than I meant. It was great. It's great to have that kind of dialogue, and then to have such a phenomenal person like Jeff here, who has that texture to his voice and that kind of character that brings Randall to life. And knowing Brian Johnson in real life and knowing you in real life, and you definitely see the aspects through the conversations, the subject matter specifically, that Dante and Randall live there. And so I'm proud to be Dante forever. I mean, I don't want to step on Wakanda's fucking line, but even though I'm not supposed to be here today, I love the dialogue of it all, and you know, and that's the testament to Kevin and his upbringing and just putting down what he knows. He knew what he liked and he put it down, and I enjoy it. I'm glad I'm doing a third rendition of this, and I think it's the most powerful rendition.
I think for me, I've never really been playing Kevin's part. It's always Brian Johnson, who Randall is modeled on. But in this one, as soon as I read it, I realized, holy cow, I'm actually going to be doing Kevin's story. And I didn't get too heady about it because I'm not much of an actor, so I don't, get into that space. But there was one thing that I did put in there. Kevin has this thing when he's filming and he gets jazzed, he kind of does this little snappy thing. And just as a lark, I did that while Randall was directing. That was my little gift to Kevin. So I'm kind of playing you just with my fingers.
It was awesome, and I was watching the take, and at one point, generally when I kind of get like excited, that they call it, somebody called it, who is it, you call it, Josh calls it my impatient dance. Josh's wife, Liv, calls it my impatient dance. It's this. And
this is how the magic works, everybody.
Pretty much, you just see behind the scenes. And I'm always telling them, like, that's not me being impatient. Like, they're like, what is that? A lot of people ask, what are you listening to in your head that you're dancing to? And I was like, it's no music. That's just the feeling I get when I'm getting everything that I want. So at one point during the take, like Jeff is playing Randall, who is directing a movie. He started doing this, and I was behind the fucking monitor, and I got choked up where I was like, he noticed. Okay, we good? Thank you, my friend. Give it up, great question. How are you, what's your name?
Hi everyone, my name's Russell Fung.
Give it up for Russell, everybody. What you got, Russell? What can we do you for?
I'm really grateful that Brian and Jeff are here. And, oh my God. My question's for Jeff. I would love to hear your story and your journey about what you were going through and what got you to change your mind and say yes to Clerks 3, because I'm just very grateful that you get to do this.
I got so tired of Kevin sitting around my house fucking snapping. I was like, I'll fucking do it! No, it was, I don't know, I have a sort of a weird relationship with these movies. I'm very grateful to do them. I have a great time when I do them. But at the same time, it's just not my thing. It's, it just, I don't know. I'm like the only guy that lives in LA that doesn't want to be an actor. Fucking Kevin doesn't understand that.
He moved out of LA, he moved up into like the fucking woods, as Jay said, he lives with bears in the fucking woods, and still I'll show up and be like,
that's it.
It was, thank God, Jeff said yes, man, because the Randall, is the linchpin to the affair. That was the story I desperately wanted to tell. A kind of a Randall forward story. It's not to say that Dante takes a back seat by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just the journey gets powered by Randall, and of course Dante goes on it with him. And being on that set, like, you know, we shot it last summer. We started on my birthday, August 2nd. And wrapped like right before, I guess, September, beginning of September, or first week of September. And there were moments where, you know, there were four of us, Brian, Jeff, me, and Jason, and then 5 with Marilyn, who were there when we made the first one. Like, you know, when it was not a concept of like, oh, I hope people like Clerks 2 or 3. This was like, I hope people like this movie that we're making, and we all like rehearsed well into the evenings and stuff like that. So when we were able to kind of reconvene, and here we were like 28 years later doing almost the same fucking things. In some scenes, we're literally doing the same fucking things that we did 28 years ago. It was a surreal experience to say the least, but it was also familial. It was like you could only do this with people who were there with you from the beginning, family. So I'm so glad we got to do it. I'm so glad you did say yes. I'm glad I fucking pestered you for as long as I did, because you're magic. Him and Trevor are two people that like when we finished Clerks 3, I said to Trevor, like, Trevor was in Clerks 2 with us, and then the next thing I think Trevor did was Clerks 3. I was like, don't fucking wait 16 years to be this brilliant again. And he was like,
let's not go nuts.
It's so true, man. And he was just like, well, if you do one, I'll do one and stuff. And Jeff is kind of like similar, but they're so fucking gifted. Wait until you see, the two of them have a scene opposite one another, and Randall and Elias have this relationship we established in Clerks 2. But they have like a fucking drop dead scene in the 3rd act that's dramatic as fuck, that like Trevor pulls off while wearing an incredible King Diamond face paint at the same time.
Spoilers.
Yes. So I'm glad that you said yes. Thank you for that. Okay, you, my friend, what's your name?
Hello, everyone. I'm Nico Holt.
Who is it?
Nico Holt.
Everyone give it up for Nico.
This is my first time in Hall H, and I'm so excited to meet you in person, Kevin Smith.
Welcome.
I saw you on screen in the LA Comic-Con talking about Stan Lee. It was an incredible experience that I had, and it's an honor to see you.
Thank you for that.
The question I have for you, Kevin, and the comic book guy on AMC, what was your favorite show on the comic book guy that you have done, and who was your favorite special guest?
Of all the episodes of Comic Book Man, which was my favorite? There was an episode that we did, and when I say we, it's very loosely. I had the easiest job in the world on that show. The boys would make the show at the store, like, you know, for weeks they'd shoot, and then I would come in once a month and shoot the wraparounds, like, well, what'd you guys do this week and stuff. So the show was always a delightful surprise for me as well. When I watched it, you know, I watched it before it aired, I got to watch a cut of it and stuff. I was getting to see stuff, discover stuff for the first time. I believe it's the first season, if not maybe the second, but there's an episode where the boys make a commercial, like a cheap knockoff commercial for Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. And that was Walter Flanagan's idea. And there was a toy commercial when we were kids that would run in our neck of the woods, a hobby store that we went to and bought comics called Toy Masters. And they did a local commercial that ran on like a local network and stuff, would pop in on cable. And you know, it was, to say it was stiff would be an understatement and shit. And so it always captured Walter's imagination. And he didn't want to do Comic Book Man. Like, I had to badger him into doing that and stuff. Him and Brian Johnson. They were both like, no, I don't want to be on TV. So finally, when they agreed to do it, like, Walter was like, look, I'll do it, but you can't make me like this. So I was like, all right, fair enough. So he was doing it, and then I got a report back that like, oh, we're doing an episode where we do a fake commercial. And my heart leapt, because that was I knew what that was. That was Walter engaging with the program. It was no longer just happening to him and around him. It was no longer just something that he was doing because I asked him to do. It captured his imagination, and he realized he could use this to do the things he always wanted to do. And one of the things he always wanted to do was make a commercial that made fun of that commercial that we always watched and shit. So he built a whole episode essentially just to do that. And when I saw that, I was filled with creative joy. My friend was one of the, still remains one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, one of the most original and shit. Kind of like, absolutely like Jason Mewes. But he was not a production guy. He wasn't like me where he gets up on stage and tries to do things and stuff like that. But he was bit by the bug. He was seized by the moment, and suddenly he kind of took charge, and he started writing more storylines. And the best episodes of Comic Book Men, honestly, were the ones that came from Walter, because they were so fucking meaningful. And when he took charge, you could see like how much it meant to him. Like here he was going like, this could be fun and shit. So I absolutely love that episode where they did the commercial, because it takes me right back to like the first year of hanging out with Walter in the like late 80s and being like, you're one of the most original people I've ever met. Without Walter, I never get to Brody Bruce. Mallrats never happens and stuff. So he's in the creative DNA of a lot of what I do, and watching him quote unquote come out of his shell, so to speak, and seize his creative power was nothing short of fucking thrilling, even though it was Comic Book Men, man. There was this huge human drama that was going on in the middle of it, where I watched my friend ascend creatively. It was really beautiful. Who was my favorite guest that we ever had on the show? I mean, hands down, Stan. He was on multiple episodes. There was one episode where he's sitting on the counter and the boys are at his feet, like just sitting there listening to him. And it's fucking, you know, they're all adults on the ground and shit like that, but it seemed like the absolute right relationship. And when he was there, he was having a good time. Like he was laughing and hooting and hollering and shit like that. Like, you know, sometimes Stan was overcommitted and would do things and you get the impression like this was a favor to somebody. But Stan loved to perform and Stan loved to play Stan, and we were like, here's a TV show, play Stan. So he held court on the show. It was absolutely fucking wonderful. And to be able to give something tiny like that back to a dude who gave me so much, like, this was a guy who fired my imagination as a child, and somebody I kind of modeled myself after as an adult. First time I came to Comic-Con in 1995, Stan was the chairman emeritus. He was the mayor. He was Mr. Hall H, and that didn't even exist at that point. But he was the person I most wanted to be at Comic-Con, where I was like that. The person who, when they walk into a fucking room, everyone's so happy to see them. Everyone has a shared memory of something wonderful that this motherfucker did. I was like, if I could live my whole life and get to that fucking place, that would be magical. And that's how I feel when I come to Comic-Con now. He ain't here, but I feel him here, man. I'm sorry that we keep getting real emotional on a Saturday night, but you can tell we're all old people and everything feels. Thank you for that question. Anytime you get a chance to bring back the dead, man, you gotta seize it. And he was the finest of us. Like, think about it. A lot of us are sitting in this room today because there is a track that pop culture sails along on consistently. The track was fucking built. One of the architects was fucking Stan Lee. Can't come here without thinking about the guy. And then you can't come here without thinking about the guy and who he meant to pop culture and the world and comics and shit. And then on a whole different personal level, like, I can't come here without thinking about the guy, our friend. So many adventures that we had with Stan at Comic-Con. Jason talked about the other night on Jay and Silent Bob Get Old podcast that we did at the Movies Pop-Up and stuff. How we came to the back, Hall H, you know, they pull you up in a vehicle and you get out and shit. We got out, it was years ago, and as we got out of the vehicle, who was getting into the vehicle but fucking Stan Lee himself. And Stan Lee, for whatever reason, loved me and would always light up when he saw me. He'd be like, Kev! And he fucking always remembered me. And even though I stand next to Jason all the time, he never remembered Jason's name. So he would be like, hey, Kev, hey, Kev's little buddy. And, which is weird because Jason's taller than me, whatever. But But he sat there, he chit-chatted with us for a few minutes, like in the, you know, right in the parking lot in the area of the drop-off and shit. And then his people got him into his vehicle. He's like, all right, I'll see you guys later. And he pulled away and shit. And, you know, I'd known him at this point since '95, so it'd been years. But Jason had the presence of mind to be like, could you imagine going back in your life, go back to being a kid and tell yourself that one day when you come to Comic-Con, the first person that's gonna greet you is Stan Lee, and he's happy to fucking see you. Beautiful fucking observation that I never would have thought of. I was on my way to a panel, so Stan was something. I was like, hey man, how are you? And had the exchange, and off he went. Thankfully, Jason stopped the world just to be like, Jesus Christ, look how far we've come from Jersey to Stan Lee's fucking friends, man. Like, really, really powerful shit. Then there was one time, like, fucking, we were doing a signing on the floor. It was an end cap stage they built up. It was only like three stairs high. And we were doing a signing at this table, and Stan rolled by to say hello and shit. This is a few years after Mallrats. You gotta remember, like, fucking, when we met him, he was already an old man. Like, when he came to us on Mallrats, he was already gray haired. He was 76 when we shot Mallrats. And I remember Jim Jacks, the producer, was like, be careful with him. He could die at any minute and shit. He lived 20 more years. He outlived Jim Jacks. It was crazy and shit. So, you know, Stan came up to say hi to us and shit. We were like, Stan, and we were chit-chatting. And meanwhile, people were there to get signatures. Were just staring in awe. There were no cell phones. This was before the cell phone camera, so it wasn't a sea of phones in our faces. It was just people experiencing the moment, going, oh my God, look, they know each other and shit like that. So we chit-chatted for a second. He's like, all right, I'm off to my thing, because Stan was always fucking busy and stuff. So he's heading off the stage. Remember, it's only 3 steps up from the ground and shit. And he's like, bye, spider friends, and turns and goes face first off the fucking stage, man. Bam! Onto the fucking ground. All those people who were there didn't save him. And he instantly bounced the fuck back up like a super pig. He was like, bye, kids, and kept fucking going, man. Absolute fucking magic. Thank you for bringing him back for a few minutes, man. That felt good. How are you?
I'm good.
What's your name?
Carlos.
Carlos, everyone give it up for Carlos, man. Carlos, good people. One of the last ones.
Oh, shit. All right.
The pressure's on now, right?
A little bit, yeah. Well, I guess now. Thank you, Kevin, for inspiring me to become a filmmaker when I was a teenager, because I was like, if this counts as a movie, I can do this, right? So,
absolutely, man. That's the key to this shit. Is you look at it, and I remember Slacker was the movie that did it for me. Richard Linklater's Slacker. And I've spoken many times about how I viewed the movie with a mixture of awe and arrogance. Awe because I was like, I've never seen anything like this. This is fucking incredible. You can do this? This counts as a movie and shit? Holy shit. And then arrogance because I was like, I think I could fucking do this. If this counts as a movie, shit, I might be able to pull this off. And so years later, I made, you know, fucking Clerks, and other people saw it, and that's the compliment they give me the most, which is like, your movie looks so fucking bad that I figured I should give it a shot, you know? So thank you, that means the fucking world. In a weird backhanded compliment kind of way.
My mom's good at that, so
passed it right up.
Anyway, with the precipice of Clerks 3 being released, and since streaming is a whole new thing too, possible Clerks animated series revival? I'm hoping for it.
Oh, I would love. We talk about this all the time because it was the easiest job any of us ever had, man. You could show up in your pajamas and record voices. Shit, I played Silent Bob, so I got paid for no voice whatsoever. The version that we did, that particular iteration with Leonardo, Mr. Plug, all that stuff, if we were to do that, the only way we could do it, it's oddly enough, it's owned by Disney, but Disney would never fucking put it anywhere near Disney Plus. It was made it was made for ABC, and Disney owns ABC, so they technically own it. That leaves one place to potentially do it, and that is Hulu. So the moment that Solar Opposites hit, when Justin's show hit, man, I called my agent, I was like, can you fucking call up Hulu and tell them, like, we got a cartoon, man, that could go right next to Solar Opposites and shit, and it's got all the designs are done, and like, we got scripts like ready to go, we've been waiting and shit like that. And the word came back from Hulu that like, we're good. And I was was like, what is that? So are we going to pitch? They're like, they don't even want to hear the pitch. So that's the only way we can make that show is through a very thin tightrope at Hulu. Now, we could make a Clerks cartoon. It just wouldn't be that Clerks cartoon. I have the rights to go make a Clerks cartoon anywhere I want, but that particular iteration I couldn't do. So we figure if there's enough of a good response, positive response to Clerks 3, then it's going to be a lot easier to walk into a streamer and be like, how would you like to do a Clerks cartoon? So that depends on y'all, man. If you get your tickets at clerks3.movie, perhaps it paves the way for us to get back to the cartoon. Or an even better cartoon, man.
Or hashtag Hulu bring back Clerks the cartoon.
Yes. Yeah. That's true. That could work. Thank you for that.
Listen, they had the butthole cut of Cats for fucking sake. It's trending at one time.
True. Good point. Go ahead. We'll take you. Absolutely. What's your name, Captain?
Thank you, Kevin. My name's Aaron.
Aaron? Everyone give it up for Aaron, man.
Just wanted to say lots of us were waiting in line for you and not Marvel, so happy to be here.
Thank you, man.
And
thank you. Y'all missed out because Marvel rocked.
You're rocking pretty good too, so just want to say you're about as polar opposite from me as a person. That like you and I are totally different people, but every time I come to hear you speak at Hall H, I am supercharged like a Green Lantern sticking his hand in the battery for my writing, and I just can't say how much I appreciate that. So I just
Number one, that is an eloquent compliment, my writer friend. Instantly evocative. I saw myself sticking my hand into the fucking lantern. Well done. Number two, I love any creative, man. If you're a writer, if you're somebody out there that's just like, ooh, I got an idea, pursue it. Do it, write it. You don't know if it's gonna go anywhere, but it'll never go anywhere if it fucking lives here. Take it from here to one other step and see what happens. Stranger things, not that fucking show, but stranger things have happened, and it could become your career. You're looking at a bunch of people up here who like made a movie just to see if we could, and it literally became our careers for a lot of us and shit. So be creative, kids. It's nice to listen to creative people and shit, but it should fire you up like he's talking about. Make you want to go out there and do shit on your own. Make your own fucking shit. Okay. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Camille.
Camille? Everyone give it up for Camille. Floor is yours, Camille.
Well, first of all, I was here when you talked about your heart attack too, and I wanted to say I just think that took incredible balls to say in front of so many people. And I know a lot of people that aren't fans that I've played that for that were just amazed and then went on to look at a lot of your work and enjoy it. So.
Fucking hey, man. Thank you. See, that heart attack was very valuable for me.
Well, I was thinking
it made people reconsider me in many different ways.
Do you think if you had another one, we could do the cartoon?
Hold on, I feel it coming on. Elizabeth!
Take over the team.
Someone call Hulu!
So to me, like, I think your work's funny, it's honest, it's clearly a labor of love, but lots of things are. But what I think the real magic has been is the relationships you have all cultivated with each other that have allowed you to keep doing all of this. And I think that says something really exceptional about all of you.
Yeah, that's all an
Thank you
act.
for doing
We
that.
hate each other.
The good and the bad and all of that. I think that's pretty amazing. And it's clear that you all show each other a lot of respect and affection. I think that's really awesome. So my question is, I actually wanted to know from all of you, either what question you wish people would ask you, or what you still really hope to do in your career right now.
That is an excellent fucking question. Give it up for that. Fuck. And what a great way to wrap this all up it shall be, man. We'll start right here. A two-parter. And what are the two parts again? I'm a stoner, so I already forgot.
I actually had asked you at the last one what work you still wanted to do, and you actually mentioned this. So what I wanted to know was either what question you guys wish people would ask you, but they never have, or what you're really hoping to still do with your career, like what your dream is to do that you haven't done.
Love it. Starting with you, Austin.
I'm going to answer the second part of that question first. And like a lot of the people asking questions here, I want to make movies myself one day, because I've been doing acting for a while, and yeah, I want to dabble in that area. And a question that I wish people would ask me would be,
Austin's dating my daughter, be very careful.
I know, I'm trying to think. Do you know that taco cat spelled backwards is taco cat? And I would say, yes, it is.
It's so stupid.
I'll come up with a better one.
You have my permission to marry my daughter.
Wait, for real?
Over to you, Marilyn.
I don't even know how to answer that first part. I just don't. But as far as like the second question, I mean, I can only hope that this will be a definite, you know, breaking point for me to continue to do this, to make me get more auditions that actually have more substance to them. I'm not talking about this. Substance.
You know, the movie's not out yet. You can still be cut, Marilyn. I'll be honest with you, Marilyn.
I'm talking about the auditions that I do get.
True.
Yeah.
I will pay you a compliment to pull you out of this hole you're digging for yourself. Marilyn came and she did a scene. When I wrote the scenes for Veronica in Clerks 3, they were very cuttable. They don't push the narrative forward. They're essentially, let's stop the movie to enjoy somebody coming back. But in a world of editing, it's one thing, I'm a hell of a nice writer and I'm a really wonderful director, but when it comes to being an editor, I will serve the story, so you may get fucking cut. So that role was always in my head, like, you know, we could always cut the Veronica scene. It doesn't really propel the story forward. And then Marilyn showed up and dropped a fucking performance clinic. She took a scene that, like I said, was fucking cuttable. And that's the writer, director, and editor saying that. And she made it absolutely dazzlingly uncuttable. We all stopped just to fucking watch her act, man. It was pretty damn impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you for the scene to begin with.
You made it better, kid. I'm telling you, it's a cute scene, but you elevated it.
I literally went in there to prove something more to myself, to really make that scene my own and show the world what I've been able to accomplish since the first one.
You do. You do absolutely do that in the movie.
So, thank you for that.
However, give it up for it, man. However, as your director, I'm going to point out there's a very easy answer to the first question. If somebody's like, what's the thing you've never been asked you've always wanted to be asked? You just say, would you like $1 million?
That would be nice, yes. But I've already directed my first little short film that I entered into your film festival.
Did you?
I
Holy
did.
shit, man.
I did. So that's, you know, just dabbling here and there and just kind of trying to learn as much of everything else as possible. So, and hopefully bigger and better things to come.
Captain?
Question I wish someone would ask me that no one's ever asked me is, Trevor, how did you become the most handsome man in the world and also the world's greatest ninja? As for what I'd like to do with my career, I'd really like to do the Clerks cartoon, so could you do cheeseburgers?
I hope I do drop dead. You'll feel so bad for the next month.
I don't find any of this fucking funny.
Yeah, this guy's like, don't fucking make jokes about my meal ticket. Fuck.
No,
I don't know, you know, for years people have been like, oh, Kevin's your meal ticket. It's vice versa, ladies and gentlemen. The character of Jay is not a creation of my imagination. The character of Jay is based on Jay himself and who he was when he was 16 years old. So the character is eternally 16. And you know, I watched the opening few minutes of the movie with everybody, and it was wonderful to hear everybody welcome fucking Brian, welcome Jeff, but like when Jay and Silent Bob came out, man, it was like fucking magic. The roof blew off, and that's everything to do with Jason Mewes. The character exists because of him. Silent Bob only exists so that Jay has somebody to talk at. Give it up for Jason Mewes.
That I didn't want anything bad to happen to my best friend, but thanks, bro. Is it my turn?
Yeah, it is.
I wish someone would ask me if I bleach my asshole.
We don't ask because those who know.
The answer is yes.
What do I want to do? Was that what the thing was?
What was the second part?
Like to do in your career if you were given the opportunity?
Oh,
like
in
what
my
you still
career.
hope to do, yeah.
You being a fucking Marvel.
I want to be, you know what, in my career, I guess this would be a career thing. I really want to be, I want to add to the handprint. I want to hit the trifecta and get the star on the Walk of Fame. And I want to become a wax figure. At the Wax Museum, you know?
It's such a quaint, oddly old Hollywood notion where your like 3 levels of success are getting your feet in the cement of the Gromage Chinese Theater. I get that. That's rare air that we're breathing. Getting your fucking star on a Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, I get that. There's not a lot of people in the world who do that. But who told you that wax figures was like the pinnacle of success? Like, if you got a wax figure, you fucking made it, son.
You know why? Because I went to, when they unveiled the Danny Trejo's, and right next to it was fucking Obama, and fucking, and part of the Golden Girls, motherfucker.
You're right, I'm thinking about this all wrong.
Fucking Obama, B. Arthur, and you. Oh God, I'm gonna die.
Danny, Ariana Grande, Danny Trejo, the Golden Girls, and Obama, motherfucker.
If that's not a Marvel movie in Phase 6, I don't know what is.
You know, I didn't have an answer for that first part, but I just came up with it. I'm dying for somebody to ask me if I want to be a wax figure. And do I want to be right next to Jay's bleached asshole? The second part of it, I don't really have career aspirations, but I will say, I told Trevor this, and I think it's the only person I've told this. A while back, I wrote a movie called Now You Know, wrote and directed a movie called Now You Know, and that's where we found Trevor. Since I've been doing the cons and getting out and people have said such nice things about my movie, I've actually started writing a new script.
Oh, shit! That fucking rocks.
I will see.
Attaboy.
And you thought Wakanda Forever was a cool reveal.
Oh my God, you salty bitch.
Have a seat, Marvel Studios.
Well, he was like, do you realize that all these other studios were our warm-up act and we're the headliner tonight?
I don't know, man. I saw that Guardians trailer.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
So a question I would love to be asked would be, would you want to join us as part of this cast of this new Star Wars movie? So literally there's only maybe 5 people in the planet that could actually ask that question with legit follow-up. Secondly, I guess is kind of connected. I would love somehow, because I badgered my really poor working class Irish family to spend stupid amounts of money they really didn't have for tons of Star Wars toys back in the 70s when that movie came out, because it changed my life like it changed Kevin's life. I remember we lived in the Bronx in New York City, and we drove out to this 70mm theater out in Paramus, New Jersey to go see a 70mm print of the film. And I remember my two older brothers, one is 10 years older, one is 9 years older than me, or 6 years older than me, excuse me. And coming back out of that movie, and I'm like, yeah, that was so great. I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I get my own land speeder when I can drive. It's quite a bit of time since '77, and I still don't have my goddamn land speeder. But I can pretend to drive one in a Star Wars movie. So if I could get somehow involved in the Star Wars franchise, I think I'm very jealous of Rosario, to be honest with you. And,
right?
Would love to be a part of that. I know you voiced a stormtrooper in the Star Wars movie, so that would be. It's not quite wax figure level of.
Yes. Aim higher, man.
Yeah.
Aim for Madame Tussauds and shit.
Jeff, is your screenplay a Star Wars movie?
Say what?
Is Jeff's? I was asking Jeff. No, this joke's not going anywhere. Bail.
Did you hit the second question? Oh, the Star Wars movie.
Yeah, Star Wars.
No, that was
join us.
Give it up for Brian.
That's just me pandering for that.
No, that's smart. You don't get unless you ask. What question would I like somebody to ask me that they haven't asked me? It'd be nice if somebody was like, can I make moose jaws? That'd be great. Maybe one day someone will ask that. I'm gonna go a little poignant because it's late and I'm a middle-aged stoner, but question I would love to be asked is, do you want to go to the movies? And I would just love to be asked that by my father one last fucking time, man. I'd say, fuck yes, we're going to see that Guardians picture, old man. And he'd been dead for a while, so I'd have to explain the franchise to him and shit, but after that, we'd have a damn good time. What do I want for the future, or what do I hope to do with yet to accomplish that I haven't accomplished yet? I'll be honest with you. Life's and this business has been very good to me. Either that or I have very low aspirations because I've been able to accomplish most of the things that I've ever wanted to accomplish, like a good 95% of them and shit. And the ones that I haven't been able to do aren't like breaking my heart to not do. And I also figure, well, life is long and I got something to look forward to. Maybe I'll get there and stuff. But I do have one ambition that I would love to share with you all for the future. And that's that I want to come back and do this all again next year, ladies and gentlemen. You have made me and my friends feel so fucking welcome. Thank you so much, always. Give it up for Austin, Marilyn, Trevor, Jay, Jeff, and Brian, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hall H panel with Kevin Smith and his special guests from Clerks 3, Austin Zager, Marilyn Gigliotti, Trevor Furman, Jason Mewes, Jeff Anderson, and Brian O'Halloran. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, this now concludes our programming here in Hall H. We'd ask that you please make your way to the exit doors. We do have to clear Hall H and prepare for tomorrow's events. We hope you enjoyed your evening and day here with us in Hall H. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a great evening, and always refer to your events guide for nighttime programming taking place throughout the convention center.